What up, deadbeats? It's your host with the most, Sawyer-Heppes here. Some of you may know me as Irish Wig Tarot. I performed a lot at the Poe Museum out here in Richmond, Virginia, Common House, Brian Sider, a number of other places there too. I've decided to take things from Instagram and move onward towards YouTube here. Life's been a crazy enough of a whirlwind. I'm still trying to make the 9 to 5 thing happen here, or turn my tarot into a more sustainable business here. So this is kind of my stab in the dark at going on YouTube, seeing what's gonna happen, see what's there. Y'all know me. I'm a little transparent, maybe even a little TMI about my personal stuff on here too. So just always like to be kind of transparent. I know the struggle is real. As you guys know, I'm a tarot reader with a morbid sense of humor, so I like to keep it pretty real for you guys. No fronting here. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. Anyways, so this is my chance to kind of take my tarot out into the greater World Wide Web here and see what you guys think. I'm going to leave some links down there for, Venmo donations, Cashapp if you want to support. Eventually, maybe we'll get a Patreon and things going. But as you guys know, I specialize in exercising those demons. I mean, the whole reason I call myself Irish Wig Tarot is I am a firm believer in the mix of the celebratory and somber events that life has to offer. As we know, an Irish wake is a funeral that has a little bit of a celebration component in it. A lot of drunken revelry, a lot of good times, a lot of mourning of the bad times, but I like to think that we can release the things that no longer serve us and find a better path towards healing, hope, happiness, a brighter future, examining the bittersweetness of what our poison is in life, and then finding something to toast and celebrate moving forward. Whether it's a piece that we still want to hold on to, or just celebrating that something's gone, it's no longer serving us, and it's out of our lives. So I had a powerful moment this weekend, and today's going to be a little bit more of a curated reading. I'm not drawing these cards at random. It has very much been put in a position to tell sort of a narrative here, because I think tarot doesn't have to be random, it doesn't have to be us pulling different cards there. We can go right to the ones that make the most sense, have lessons. I think there's a medicinal purpose to a lot of these things here, and I'm a big proponent of using tarot for mental health here, if you've never heard me talk about that. So I find it important to find your own healing and development and working through those depressions. So I think, if you feel like you're going through an experience, whether it's the loss of the Four of Cups and we're hung up on a particular subject there, or reminding ourselves that things are, illusionary or nightmares like the Nine of Swords, or even just kind of finding rest and relaxation, or finding something to celebrate, or maintaining humility, or putting in the work, or whatever it is, finding those deeper lessons for us so we can grow and develop and become a better part of our higher selves here. So as some of you may know, this past weekend we celebrated the burial of my grandmother in Arlington Cemetery. As you know, she's a big part of my life. And I even actually worked a big sunflower market the week before, and as some of you may or may not know, sunflowers are a big part of her life. It's the whole reason I have this tattoo right here in her honor, because we joke that she always was very much a human sunflower, absorbing sunlight, spreading her rays of hope, loved her time in her garden, loved taking care of her lawn to the point that, we weren't even allowed to mow it, which was fine by me, personally, on there. But she loved soaking up those suns, and she really kind of liked to absorb the natural joy that the sun card and things has to offer. So on that note, we're actually going to start off here with the sun card, and I hope you guys can see it here. There's no glares or anything too much there, but I grabbed this from my Modern Witch deck right here, because this one, I think, above all, embodies my grandmother, and I have certain cards associated with certain individuals in my life there too, and the sun very much was my grandmother. Like I said, she herself was a ray of sunshine. She loved being out there all day, soaking up that vitamin D, love the kind of complexion it gives your skin, a lot of that healing, vibrant energy. And I think that also does speak to her own vibrancy. She herself was that ray of sunshine. She always had a big smile on her face, a big contagious laughter. You could recognize it anywhere. She had a very unique kind of witch-like cackle, if you could, but it was still radiating full of joy and happiness and optimism. And she could be watching any of her family members or friends, anything from a chess match to a football game to graduation ceremony, and she'd always get up and cheer, with that sort of vibrancy and that energy, to the point that it embarrassed certain members of our family. But deep down we know it made us smile, because that was the love and radiant energy that she had to share with the world. She was an amazing woman. A lot of things about her that we really, really like to celebrate and mourn. She was a very special part of my life. I spent a few years living at home. I would help my mother take care of her, so a lot of people don't always get that time with their grandparents, and I'm lucky to have my grandmother live to be 100 years old, if you can believe it. And she passed away a few months after that. But, that's a life well lived. She longed to be with her husband and things on the other side there. And she's a God-fearing woman, so she was ready to get to those pearly gates. And you can bet she had no problem probably getting through those things, as much as we can assume through a lot of those. So, I cherish that time. It's heartbreaking, and it is sad to lose that, but I am happy that, I do firmly believe she's in a better place, whether it is just firmly resting in peace or living in that paradise on the other side. So, death is something we fear as a tragedy. What does that mean for us? What's it going to offer? What's on the other side? What do we do without these things? We face our own mortality with a lot of these things. So, don't get me wrong. Tears were shed. It was probably one of the first death announcements in my life. I cried instantly. A lot of other times I feel like I've let it bubble or fester, had to take time to process it, and some didn't cry at all. And it's not that I wasn't sad about that individual. I just think we all grieve in our own way and to the appropriate level that seems fitting for us. This right here is from my jack-o'-lantern deck, probably the second deck I ever first real tarot deck that I actually worked on in terms of a traditional tarot, but second deck I ever owned here. And, if you look at it, it is kind of gruesome to some degree. We never know how it's going to come. We never want it to be painful. We want it to be peaceful and an easy transition there for us. But there is still kind of a cartooniness to this. And I think that is because death doesn't have to be something that is totally feared. Or ashamed of, or worried about. Those are reasonable mortal things, human qualities that we have, and it's reasonable to be afraid of those things. But we know that it does produce extra life and legacy, and my family even kind of gathered together for this celebration. There's 22 cousins. My mom came from a family with 6 other siblings. So there were a lot of aunts and uncles, spouses, the children of those siblings, and then we've even hit a next generation, so their children's children. So, amassing 4 generations, this lady got to see. She got to see a lot of those great-grandchildren. She loved babies and loved all those things, and that's kind of where it comes back to this sun card a little bit here for us. I like this idea of the child kind of bouncing on the horse there. She used to kind of bounce us on our knee. This corny little rhyme about the way the ladies ride, and this is the way the boys ride, and all that stuff too. Do with that what you will. Sorry. But it still was this wild, goofy, fun little kind of nursery rhyme like thing that she used to do for us. So it was fun. It'd be like a nice, gentle ride to kind of picking up. And, as a child, as a baby, you feel like you're bouncing on this horse. It makes you smile. It makes you giddy. It makes you fun. It's a shared love and energy. And you're feeling that vibrancy again from the sun radiating there, too. And like I said, she loved sunflowers. So you have this amazing sunflower image in the background there where it's representing all that new life and that rebirth. And she loved Easter and spring and all those things. And that in of itself is that rebirth, that resurrection that comes with the death card. We escape the coldness of winter for a new, exciting vibrancy, which is a reminder of those hardships that we go through, and knowing that there is a light on the other side, and that, immortality itself can be the legacy we leave behind with our children and our children's children, and even just those wonderful memories and experiences. And a funeral can't help but make you look back and get nostalgic about that, and I think that's that 6 of Cups energy right here too. If you notice, this one specifically has kind of a child looking back there, and kind of a puppy version of the dog, so representing those past times, those past memories on there. And while nostalgia can be a little entrapping in times, we wish things were those way. Don't get me wrong, I wish my grandmother was still with us. I'd love to sit down and have a big old plate of spaghetti with her again, and either watch another rerun of Everybody Loves Raymond or MASH or any sitcom that can make her cackle. And it's funny too, as I would think about those times, I she would often ask me to, isn't there somewhere else you gotta be? You don't have to sit here with me. Don't waste your time. And even though my mother was generous enough to pay me to take care of her, I was, trying to work and do with that I could. I still enjoyed that time. I'm not saying it was about making the profit. That was just a nice little gesture on top of everything there. But I really did genuinely enjoy that time with her. And I did tell her, there's nowhere else I'd rather be in this moment, because that was my chance to see my grandmother towards the end and share those memories. And as she was dipping deep and deep into senility, I will say she kept her mind very sharp. She may have forgotten certain individuals or had trouble remembering things, or even just kind of getting that brain fog that kind of comes with that senility and is to be expected. She was still sharp as a tack. She still kind of managed to dodge those questions in the right way. My uncle and I, who's also my godfather, got talking about how I think that speaks to just her eternal kindness that she had, that you don't have to really fake anything of not remembering someone's name or what they're doing there or what's going on. If you just have that generous, loving spirit of yourself to want to get to know someone or ask things about them or be invested in their life, or just making them feel like you've known them for a million years. And at one of my markets, in fact it was the sunflower market, a guy said his feedback was, I feel like I've known you for ages, and I know that I inherited that sort of gregarious nature from my grandmother. I think that is something, that a genetic gift that she's passed on to me and many other members of our family too. And I think it's very flattering, high praise, and people gravitated to her. Again, speaking to that powerful radiance that the sun offers, because, even if you're not an outdoor person, sooner or later, it's nice to go outside. It's nice to have that fresh air. And when we do leave that coldness of winter, or even just a rainy day, or even just when the heat's been unbearable, like it has been this summer, having it turn into a more enjoyable energy. We're not fighting dehydration. We're not, fanning ourselves constantly, pouring and dripping pools of sweat. We can enjoy the sun the way that it was meant to be enjoyed, at its best and fullest and exciting, and that invigorating spirit that it sort of gives us there too. And it's also interesting because at the funeral they were calling a lot for rain that day, and we knew we were going to the funeral and then the pool party, because that side of the family, a lot of family swimmers, so going to the pool was kind of a big gathering place for a lot of us too, or the family alone. We're kind of local celebrities, if you will, at least just from people knowing who they are and whatnot. And even right to the backyard, because my uncle now lives in the house that they grew up in, and the house that we spent many times visiting with them as my grandparents, doing the chicken dance and all sorts of ridiculous things I couldn't begin to get into. We were all kind of joking that she managed to kind of keep that storm at bay and always had those pockets of little sun throughout. And it's amazing, because that was her weapon of choice, if you will. And it's nice to see it being a profound tool, sharing that wonderful, beautiful energy all day with us. I enjoyed that time with her, and I think that's really important. And we all gathered to look with fondness on our own lives. We started learning about how different individuals met their loved ones throughout there, or favorite memories they had with my grandmother, or creating new ones, looking at that next generation and being happy that they get to experience this little piece of what we had growing up. In these little fun enterprises too, and explain, this is what we used to do when we were your age, and all these things. And so it's nice, because I think that leads us to our next card here, which is the Lovers. I've grabbed this one. Backtracking here too, my Six of Cups is from my Lightseer deck there too. So if you're enjoying that one, highly recommend. It's one of my favorite decks and kind of a mainstay. But this one's from my Lord of the Rings deck right here too, because I think this does perfectly embody the Lovers. And while the Lovers I do see in the greater scale as a card of choice, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic fling, and I think it is about choosing what serves our heart and makes our heart happy and healthy and beat profoundly and strong and pump that lifeblood and those emotions and those feelings through us. It is a card of making choices that are happy, choices that are healthy, choices that are right for us, choices that are hard, letting go of the things that are toxic or bad or feel like a romantic tryst, even in a metaphorical sense there too. This is Aragorn and Arwen, from Lord of the Rings too. probably the most famous couple in there, runner-up, I'll give you Sam and Rosie on there, or whatever relationship you want to choose, but this whole family stems from the matriarch and the patriarch of that family, my mother's father and mother, the mother being the one that passed away there, and one of my favorite stories, and kind of has been my gold standard for what I think is the perfect relationship. My grandmother saw my grandfather across the room wearing a yellow sweater, and yellow's always been her favorite color, which is more of the sunflower energy throughout it there. And she spotted him a mile away and thought he was handsome and charming, and it was really that yellow sweater that caught her attention. And part of the reason I wear a green sweater throughout the holidays on there, green is my favorite color, as you guys may see in a lot of the themes here with my Irish Wake Tarot branding. But I like the comfy and coziness of a sweater, but I do hope that a love interest of mine will spot me across in that same way, and hopefully find me that charming and attractive too. And at least sets that stage for serendipity there too. But I always loved that story. I always thought so. And after he passed, she never thought about another person. And in fact, she was perished the thought if we suggested dating anyone else. And I don't think any of us could. And she waited a little over 20 years to be reunited here with them. And I have a beautiful picture. I'll see if I can post up here for you guys. But there's a nice little image of my grandfather's gravestone in Arlington Cemetery, and you have her box with the ashes and a lot of yellow roses around in front too. And I just got a glimpse of everybody kind of walking away with these things. But I'm not trying to kind of be too high on my own supply here with my own picture that I took here, but that was the picture I wanted to capture. That was the one I knew. And the second they said, hey, if you get from this angle, you'll see everything. I knew that's what I wanted, and it felt really nice to see them be together, because it's all she had been asking for 20 years, to be with them. And it is an example of how death doesn't have to be feared. It can be a gateway or a new opportunity, and certainly a reunion of sorts. And I even kind of speculated that on the other side, she's playing golf with my great-grandfather, her father, a game they haven't probably been able to play in a very long time, since he passed many, many years ago. Then she loves skiing with her husband, my grandfather. And so I like to think they're, hitting that fresh, powdery snow, in the best mountains and anywhere, because it's paradise. Why wouldn't it be good? Why wouldn't it be nice? And then last but not least, she did have an estranged eldest son, who I don't want to go into things there too, but, they were separated. He felt like he had to kind of isolate and do his own thing, kind of a hermit energy, if you will. And, I don't think they, as far as I know, they never got to reconnect, but I'd like to think he's named Ned Jr. after Ned Sr., his father, and I'd like to think all three of them are having dinner together, having a long overdue conversation, having a couple drinks and things. She loved a Manhattan with 3 cherries in it, and my grandfather loves a gin and tonic, so I'd like to think they're all kind of imbibing with that and having a good time, maybe over a nice steak dinner and things. But anyways, that's that opportunity. And because I think there is this shared energy of my grandparents and all the beautiful couples in my life, and even just the relationship between cousins, siblings, parents, children, friendship, work, anywhere in energy, my gold standard for a lot of these things is this Two of Cups. This is from my Pulp Tarot deck there, and because of kind of that golden age, almost 1950s, 1960s imagery here too, it reminded me the most of kind of my grandparents here. I even think they kind of look like both my grandparents to some degree here. And Two of Cups is that healthy balance. The cups are an emotional card, often associated with the heart on there, and it doesn't have to be romantic, but I do think that is, as we know, with most feelings of love or the heart or emotions and things there, we want it to be kind of that romantic, I think there's a romanticism with anything, with our work, with our passions, with the people in our lives on there. And so that Two of Cups is that giving and receiving. And it even kind of has that symbol of a wedding, the crossed arms and the drinking of the champagne, and things along those lines, because these are that symbols of balance, emotional stability, of giving and receiving, because, in sickness and in health, till death do us part, all these beautiful, beautiful things that kind of come with that. And that's why I think Two of Cups embodies love. It doesn't have to, again, or even just in the strictest sense there too, because it can be a love of friends, a love of a job that you put into and get that vibrancy out of. The friendship can be a true partnership of having each other's back. Any sort of union along those lines. And I think a lot of us really looked up to my grandparents for that, like we would in any happy, healthy environment. And I see the love and relationship between my own parents and a lot of the other people in my lives that have built these things. And when I myself, kind of am working my way through the dating pool and things like that, I remind myself, hey, are they giving as much as I'm giving, or vice versa? Am I taking here? Am I being selfish? Am I being, frankly, a jerk? All these different things on here, because you want to get that shared, happy, healthy energy out of the whole experience. Because if you do that, it grows and develops into an abundant love. This 10 of Cups energy, that feeling that builds a family, home. And that doesn't have to be a traditional family. It can be a family any way you see fit, with kids, without kids, with just pets in the home, with adopted children, with no children at all. Maybe even just people that have just kind of gravitated towards us into our own life, where it's a bond so strong that it feels like a family in its growth. But 10 itself is a number of abundance, so that's why I think it evolves from this 2 of Cups to this 10 of Cups, is that growth and that development and that abundance that we're looking for in anything we do, the success within our work, the success with our arts and our creation, and our ideas and our flowing, anything. I mean, we want abundance, and if we learn to harness that and wield that properly, it creates this giant, massive family, like the one that I was with this weekend, where we're at the pool splashing and having good times and doing stupid pool games and drinking beer. And there was one point too, my cousin, and this never happens at any of these things. We've had some music and some things in the past, but our eldest cousin plays the guitar. And we, started playing, kind of taking different requests and stuff. He got a little bombarded with things, and not all of them were great. And it is funny because my mom's family always joked that they were like the Von Trapp family. My grandfather being a military man, Navy guy, and having all these kids in a row and keeping them in line and doing all that stuff. That it is kind of funny. This is the closest we ever felt to the Von Trapp family, that we're actually like playing music and singing along. We are not the Von Trapp family in terms of talent per se, even though there were some strong singers. And my cousin was definitely, wailing on that guitar a lot. It was just kind of a beautiful, beautiful poetry there to all these things. And, with families growing apart or having conflicts or even just struggles in our own life, because I've been struggling with a lot. I have been, doing Lyft as a living, and it's been a struggle. It's been a problem. And it's really hard for me to even break away from my work because, my time really is money with these things. And I worry about what I've got going on. And then, I have to drive out there from Richmond to Maryland. It's not an easy feat. And even when I was going to D.C. for the burial, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be late? I padded an hour. How is this still not working? There's still all these problems and complications, but it all falls into place because this love and this abundance and support. And, getting back to my grandmother as that sun card a little bit here too, constantly when I'm struggling and dealing with these problems, I can still hear that cheering voice, that undying faith that she has in you, as much as of her own undying faith in the world and the things that she believed in. And I always felt that she could tell me I could do it. You can do it. You can get back up there. She had that, that basketball or football coach kind of energy. You can do this. You got this. And she was a tough old broad, so she wouldn't back away from those kinds of fights. So it reminds me that I can do it, and that with her death, it creates that immortal feeling of her presence. And I'm seeing sunflowers everywhere, and I love it. And it's this reminder that she is always going to be a part of my life, and it is going to help that new refound hope be born all the time. That death, that misery, that failures, that struggles, that problems, that mistakes aren't going to keep you down, and that you can get back up. You can do these things, no matter how hard and daunting or impossibly seeming it is. There is a lot of good possibilities out there too. And I think if that love really manifests into something truly more profound and something real and grounded, it goes from that cup energy to pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles is truly the family card being made real. The house, the home. Again, in any way, shape, or form that you see fit. If you want it to be a house just, full of dogs or cats or pets, that's fine too. If you want to have as many kids in the world, more power to you. But you can do that too if you want just a couple of kids, or one, or adopt, or create your own family by happenstance with traditions and celebrations and what have you. You have that right to do that. And this is my last card from this Lightseer deck here too, and I wanted one that really embodied a real kind of family image there. If you notice, it's playing in the backyard and celebrating, and it really did mirror that feeling of being out there in all those years of celebrations and holidays and occasions, from up to my grandparents' 50th anniversary to many a Christmas party and Easter party, or just going over there for no reason at all, just to, listen to the buzz of the cicadas, or catching fireflies, or shooting off fireworks, or doing all this crazy stuff, or just catching up, with shot after shot of whiskey, after a while. And believe me, I had my fill of some whiskey. But it is funny that I call myself Irish Wake Tarot, and this is the second time that we've specifically gathered like this and had what really feels like an actual Irish wake. I got to give a lovely toast with a lot of these ideas and images about this year. Sharing the story about my sunflower market and how those things came to be, and a lot of my feelings that happened with this. And it is great because I do smile knowing that this is what she wanted, and she cemented herself in this immortal existence with this powerful legacy that literally lives in all of us. You can see us. We joke about the flaherty eyebrows through the family too, and that's where I get it from. And it really just is this powerful thing. And much like the sun card itself, it will always rise again. It'll give us that newfound hope, even if it doesn't seem right, and even if the sun itself is a little troublesome, draining us, hurting us. Like I said, it's been a powerful, powerful heat wave this summer, and even in spite of that, I was out there enjoying the nice weather today. Nice cool breezes coming through, and a nice newfound hope through everything. And I think it's possible. I think it's achievable. And even if I'm dealing with these struggles and these things and hoping to make my business, not to push you guys in there, I hope my YouTube channel takes off, or my businesses continue to grow here, whether it's through Instagram, whether it's here, whether it's party bookings, thing along those lines. And at the risk of, ruining the sentiment here, I will say you can follow me at Irish_Wake_Tarot on Instagram. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of this. If you feel inclined to donate, I'd appreciate that too. That really helps me kind of facilitate these things and keep that going. Like I said, I'll keep a Venmo, Cashapp on there if you guys do feel inspired. I am also available for $10 digital readings, so those can be sent through text, or kind of like a greeting card and an email on there. So that's something that's available there too. I do also do Zoom readings for $30, so you can kind of have that personal experience on there. You get a copy of the recording as well. Those are at least the starting prices. I did my Hero's Journey, which is a little bit higher on there. That's starting going to be about $50 digital, $75 on Zoom. And I am available on site. I can do on-site readings for $100 on there too, but I do group discounts if you have a couple people that want to get involved. These do make great gifts for people, birthdays, special occasions, anything you want to kind of have, kind of telling a journey in people's lives, or seeing what the future holds, help them find an idea that they're kind of manifesting, growing, and developing there too. And you can catch me around a lot of other Richmond items there. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see what markets and things I've got in the horizon. If I do publish this before the 5th of July, I will be at First Fridays at Gallery 5, so check me out there. But you can catch me at a lot of the Richmond, RVA Moon Market, Mystic Markets, River City Witches, a lot of those things, so just keep an eye out for me there. But again, happy to work any events, weddings, private events, corporate events, if you want to get it on the boss's times there. Not just for Halloween. I do operate year-round, and they do kind of add a little spice to your parties and things there. So please feel free to contact me there. You guys also can, you can DM me on Instagram, you can message in the comments, and we'll try and keep track there too, or you can email me, irishwaketarot@gmail.com. And I'd love to hear from you guys in any capacity. Give me a shout out in the comments if you're listening, if you're enjoying, if you want to see more of these things. I will very soon start getting into my Irish Wake Tarot spread, which again is about something you're burying, releasing, killing off if you got to. Your second card is that bartender is going to be asking you what's your poison at this Irish Wake, and as we know, that's a loaded question, so it'll be a little bit of a bittersweet card. Highs and lows we're going to look at there. And then last but not least, we're always going to find something to toast and celebrate on there. I think that's everything. As you guys know, with my ADD, I cannot keep track of all of it, and I like to do things a little casual, a little down to earth, so I hope you appreciate kind of the casualness of my environment here too. But I appreciate anyone who's tuning in. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you guys. I hope that life isn't keeping you down, and if we don't have anything else, at least we have our health here. And as we say in Ireland, Sláinte.